Good evening, my sugar woogers and my beautiful butterflies. How are y'all doing this afternoon? Welcome to Chatting with Ms.V. To all of the new subscribers who have come in this weekend and throughout the week so far, I welcome you here. I appreciate you coming over and subscribing to my channel. And for my new badge members, thank you very much. I appreciate you. Give y'all a few minutes to come in and we will further discuss the brain. So we will be more familiar with things that may be said or done out here on the street or in the real world that we have forgotten or were not aware of. Myra is the first one in the house tonight, and I welcome you. Hello, legend. Welcome to Chatting with Miss V. I appreciate you coming in tonight. Fanny is here, my moderator. Thank you so much for coming over to moderate for me tonight. Hi, Bridget Johnson from Gainesville, Florida. Thank you for coming in and welcome to Chatting with Miss V. Subscribe, like, and share. Thank you very much. We have a new member here tonight in the house. I don't know if she's visiting or if she subscribed to the page, but let's throw Bridget some hearts, some roses or something and make her feel welcome, warm and fuzzy over here. Hey, Odie, how you doing, home girl, tonight? I hope all is well with you. Sting is in the building. She brought in hearts, and so did other people. I forgot to thank you for them, but thank you for the hearts and the crowns and the roses, Sting. I appreciate you. And she's given them to all of her lovely friends. Yo-Yo Reacts made it over here tonight. She want to know about this brain thing and how this brain is working. Hey, Michelle, welcome tonight with Chatting with Miss V. No problem, Bridget. They get me confused. They call me Miss C, Miss B. I answer to almost anything. My real name has been very hard for people to pronounce it, spell it, and say it. So I've been called a little bit of everything close to it. Vanetta, Veretta, every Vanita, all kind of stuff. So if it's close, I'll answer. No problem. Tammy is in the house tonight. Legend say, ring that doorbell before you come in, and thank you, and I appreciate it. He's got hearts and roses for you also when you come in the house. Amelia came in tonight to hang out with Hanging Out. Ain't that something? Y'all back to back tonight. That's a fact. Yo-Yo is speaking. Legend is speaking. We getting on down the line. No More Drama made it in. You told me you were coming, girlfriend. And I appreciate all of the comments that came in on the replay. There were very positive comments. Y'all said y'all liked the content. So I thought, why not do the whole brain? Don't do half of a brain and then you don't know about what the other half does. Hey, Diane Stone, welcome tonight to Chatting with Miss V. I appreciate you coming in. So this morning, we talked about the frontal lobe, and we know that deals with emotions and personality. So when a person's frontal lobe, which is their forehead, is kind of messed up for whatever reason, then their emotions and their personalities are going to go along with it because that's what it controls. Right behind it, we talked about the parental lobe. And that parental lobe is very vital also, because we said that it controlled, let me see, I don't forgot what it controlled. Hold on a minute. Let me see. Can I find it? Who remembers? Who remembers? I told y'all. Oh, that's where the it's behind the frontal lobe. So it has to deal with also emotions and symptoms of not being able to keep your balance correct. And then we talked about the occipital lobe, the temporal lobe. We touched on the brainstem. We touched on the cerebellum, and that's the entire brain. So since we've already talked about the frontal lobe, we've also talked about the, hey, Wanda Clayton, how you doing? The two hemispheres, the left hemisphere, we said that it controlled the speech, the comprehension, the arithmetic, and the writing. So if your left hemisphere of your brain is messed up, then all of those things I just named are going to be a little bit dysfunctional. That's a good word for it. Your speech, your comprehension, your arithmetic, and your writing is controlled by the left hemisphere. On the right hemisphere, it has to do more with creativity and your spatial ability, which we said is no more than occupying space. Okay. Your artistic abilities and your musical abilities. They come from the right hemisphere of the brain. So we all discussed that this morning. Then we talked about the three basic parts of the brain, which was the hindbrain, which is connected to the spinal cord. And then we said that was a wrinkled ball of tissue, and that was called the cerebellum, which we're going to talk about the cerebellum tonight. And I'm going to tell you what the function of it is. But at any point, understand that any part that I've called out can malfunction, and it's going to throw you off completely. Whether you had a car wreck, whether you had a stroke, whether it's old age, whatever caused the brain to misfire or malfunction, if any one of those parts, each one of them, as you see, are doing a different thing. Hey, Devetta, how you doing? So we also talked about the frontal lobe, which was the problem solving. So if your frontal lobe, which is your forehead, you're not going to be able to solve any problems, period. The parental lobe, that's what I was looking for. It has to do with handwriting sensation and body position. That's the parental lobe, which is right behind the frontal lobe. And then behind the parental, you had the occipital lobe, and that has to do with vision. Okay. We talked about the three main parts, which was the cerebrum, the cerebellum, and the brainstem. And we said that the cerebrum was the largest part of the brain. Once it's gone, and it's composed of the right and the left hemisphere. So if you don't have the right hemisphere working or the left hemisphere for working, you basically gone. You're just a vegetable. In other words, you're here, but your brain is not functioning to tell you to do anything. You're just laying there. It's the highest functioning part of your brain. It has to do with your vision, your hearing, your speech, your creativity. Everything that's controlled on the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere is controlled by the cerebrum. Okay, so now tonight, I've just told you about the cerebrum. You see, did anybody else come in? Okay, no. Okay, so we're moving on. So now let's talk about the cerebellum. We told you that that was the part of the brain that was right underneath the occipital. Let me try to pronounce it. Occipital lobe, and that maintains balance. So if you're suffering from vertigo, that's a good one. You're off balance, and that's because your cerebellum has misfired or is not working properly. Your balance is off when your cerebellum is not functioning properly. The brain stem. You may have never thought about how important the brain stem is. You just knew from what I told you this morning that the brain stem is connected to the vertebrae in the back. So what does it do? What does the brain stem do? It controls your breathing, your consciousness, your blood pressure, your heart rate, and your sleep. So basically, when your brain stem stops working, you are dead. You are out of here. Because if you can't breathe, okay, and you don't have no consciousness, your blood pressure is out of whack, your heart rate is out of whack, and you're just laying there sleeping, you're waiting on him to call you home. So that's the function of the brainstem, and that's how important it is. All right. Then you have the pituitary. You've heard of the word pituitary gland, but you probably never thought about, well, what is it and how does it function? It functions in regulating growth, metabolism, reproduction through hormones. So without the pituitary, you're not going to be able to produce a child. Your growth rate may be stunted. That's where you get your dwarfs and your midgets because their pituitary gland wasn't functioning properly. Um, your metabolism is very important because if it's a slow metabolism, you're going to gain weight faster. If you have a faster metabolism rate, you're going to eat it. It's going to burn up quicker. As you age, your metabolism slows down. Okay. So we have one more key players of the 5 parts of the brain team. And that is your hypothalamus. Your hypothalamus. Okay. The hypothalamus is deep in your brain. It's the deepest part of your brain. And it acts as your body's smart control center. So let's compare it to a smart home. You know how you have the smart homes these days and you hit buttons from your car, your phone, and it controls your house? Well, your hypothalamus in your brain works the same way. It keeps your body in a stable state of equilibrium. And when your equilibrium is off, that's your balance. And your balance is needed to control your body systems. Thank you, Tammy. You said awesome content, Ms.V. Okay, let me look at my chat. Fanny says, yes, I got confused. It's always the last weekend in March. Y'all talking about something else. Okay, so let me keep on with the brain. The major part of the brain that you never want to lose is your hippocampus. That is your memory. That is people who are suffering from dementia and Alzheimer's. Their memory is gone. Their hippocampus has shut down. And it's a gradual state when they're going through that. They first go through stages of dementia and then it goes into Alzheimer's. Some people go straight into Alzheimer's because it wasn't detected early enough. And maybe they were good enough to play it off. Some people's minds were so good when they were young, they able to really have a lot of control over it when they get older. So those are the major portions of the brain. We've covered them all. And let me see. That's it. So it didn't take long to really go through them all. You will hear the terms again, and you're going to have to use association because that's the only way I could pass these tests when I was in school. I had to associate like the word hippocampus. Hippo, I thought big, like a hippopotamus. Campus is where you go to learn. So that's where I could remember, oh, big campus, you go to learn memory. You got to remember to go to the campus, the big campus to learn memory. I always found some kind of way, even I used acronyms in school to try to remember for my test because I wasn't a person that I took good notes. And then I wanted to go over my notes one time and have it. I'm not that type of person that's going to sit down for hours for 3 or 4 days to study for a test. I went to a school on a quarter system. You didn't have that much time. 3 months was a semester on a quarter system. Every 3 months, you're changing to a new quarter. So you might have just one test and a couple of quizzes. Quarter system schools are much harder because they throw everything at you in 3 months that you get it 6 months on a semester. And then you don't have as many tests, so you can't mess up. Because if you fail the first test that they give you, which is probably going to be a month and a half in, you're pretty much done. It's too late to drop the class. So they got your money and they making you repeat it. Okay. So, okay, Michelle, thanks for coming over. So let me get into my chat and see if y'all talking about anything or y'all still speaking of what y'all doing here tonight, because that basically ends the portion of the brain. All of the parts of the brain, we've discussed them. And I've told you basically everything that you need to know. You can relate it to people out here talking foolish on these streets, people in your community, family, friends, whatever. You can now know, oh, their hippocampus is gone because their memory is gone. You can be very intelligent with this now. Okay. Whatever you learned and whatever you forgot, you'll know it. Okay. My niece has vertigo. Okay, Tammy. So now you know what part of the brain is working with the vertigo. And that's a horrible thing because um, your balance is just off. And I worked with a guy who had vertigo and he was always nauseated all the time. And he would have to go to the bathroom and upchuck and then come back to work again. And sometimes we would see him just standing there trying to get his balance and his equilibrium working again. Um, okay, I read yours. Tammy says awesome content. Okay, I'm trying to skip over the stuff that's not talking about the brain. Michelle, we told you good night. Um, no, I'm still here. Oh, you're still here? Alzheimer's is called the long goodbye. I never heard that, Michelle, but I guess it is because you just don't leave soon. My aunt that just passed away, uh, 2 months ago, it was when I was supposed to be going down to San Antonio, and then remember I got the problem with the knee. She passed away of Alzheimer's, and she was down for, well, she had dementia first, and she was able to stay in her apartment for a long time. And she had people coming in to see about her in the day. And then it got to the point where she had to leave her apartment because there was nobody to stay with her at night. And she went into a convalescent home, and she basically seemed like once she went out of her apartment and went to that place, it may have confused her, but she just shut down. And she was there for about a year and a half, and then she passed away. Hey, Belinda Roberts, how you doing? And welcome to Chatting with Ms.V. We've been talking about the brain this morning, so I wanted to finish up on the brain tonight. And now we can go into any topic y'all want to discuss. So I'm just reading the comments now. And the veteran says, yes, it is, Michelle. That was my occupation. I work with Alzheimer's and dementia patients. Oh, okay, the veteran. That's a great job, I guess. Probably a hard job, too, because for me, I couldn't go to see her anymore because she didn't know me. Now you have to remember she's a first cousin, but she was older, so I always called her aunt. But that was my mother's brother's children. And my mother's brother and his wife both passed when the kids were young. And they had a bunch of children, so they were spread out among the aunts, which my mother had seven siblings, seven children too. She had seven sisters. So each child kind of went with one of the aunts. One ended up in Gary, one ended up in California, two came to Louisiana, and they always were in and out of our homes until they got grown. And then they moved from Kingsville area because their father was working on the railroad down there. And they moved up to this area, to Galveston County area. And when I left and I came here, I stayed with those two for a year until I bought my home and moved into my first home. So we were more like, those were my big sisters instead of my first cousins. So when she didn't know me, when I walked in there, that hurt me. And I couldn't take it. So it was like, okay, it's just best to remember her like she is. Call my cousin. We talked every week, and I'd always ask Roz that she needed anything. I was willing to send it, but not to go and see her in that state. Hey, Cynthia Green, how you doing? Tess is back. My mother has early stages of dementia. It's very hard to accept. Yes, it is, because you want them to be like they were, and sometimes they can get a little mean also. There was a lady at our church that had it, and she was the sweetest person. She worked out at the hospital in Texas City, and she was in X-ray with the cousin I just told you about. That cousin worked in X-ray also, and they ended up being sister-in-laws. They married two brothers, so both of them were had the same last name. And like I said, both of them were sweet people. But once that happened, it changed their personality really bad. And one Sunday, this lady really cut up in church real bad. They were trying to get her to come and go home, but she didn't want to leave. And she was talking out in church and everything, but we all knew what was wrong with her. But she would not leave that service. But that was the last service that she was able to attend, because after that they wouldn't bring her back anymore. And I could understand, they didn't want her disrupting service, which to me it was no big deal. But everybody's not like me. They're not accepting of things like that. Tess is telling Michelle, thank you for whatever. I don't know. Oh, you're telling Devetta that Devetta says she loved her job. That's good, Devetta. You do well on jobs when you love your job. You do great. I always said the longest job I had was 20 years in the lab, which that was the job I hated the most. But that was the job that paid me the most money. And the biggest sacrifice of my career was walking away from that one. But I've always taken chances. I've always believed in myself. I always felt like I can make it. I don't care what. Okay, so what if I walk away from this job? And what if what I had planned was going into the beauty shop doesn't work? I can always go into the classroom. I had other things I could do, and I had enough confidence in myself to know I could do it. That's why these streets don't bother me, because I've already done things outside of what these people are doing. A lot of them, and I'm not going to say a lot, because most of them have jobs. YouTube is a side job, but a lot of them have never, I keep saying a lot, some of them have never worked a job. Okay, so they don't even know what it feels like or what it means to go off into a job. And now they want to come out here and be boss. You can't boss nobody. You can't fire nobody. You can't hire nobody. You can't do nothing. You don't even have an experience of getting up, going to work, and clocking in on time. But you want to be a boss. That's probably why your channel is not growing. That's probably why you're losing your channel every time you turn around, because you're a boss in your mind, but you're really not a educated boss, because you don't even know how to talk to people. You don't know how to deal with people. So how are you going to be a boss? Just because somebody writes something in your chat that you don't like, they get blocked? Not over here. They're not going to get blocked. People have the right to express their opinion. Okay, you're going to get blocked if you come in here disturbing the chat and talking foolish, and it's outside of what we're talking about, and you deliberately doing it. Yeah, you're going to get blocked. But if you coming in here and you just holding a conversation, even the side conversations that go on in my chat, I'm not blocking you. I'm just skipping over that. I ain't got nothing to do with what I'm talking about. That's all. Tess said, I figured it was a troll. So we had a troller come in. Oh, well, Fanny is here, so I'm sure he's gone. I appreciate that, Fanny. Wow, someone blocked the marshmallow. Tess, nobody cares. Bye. The marshmallow. Oh, Fanny, did you get the marshmallow? Because the marshmallow got to go. I got him, Fanny. Don't worry. Marshmallow gone. He's blocked. She, he, whatever. But anyway, I'm not going to stay on here long with y'all tonight. I just want to finish up that series of the brain. And I got something I got to do. I got about 15 minutes. So with all of that being said, unless y'all have some questions or y'all want to add something to it, I'm going to be signing off. It's going to be a short video tonight. I normally give y'all an hour to an hour and a half, but education, our comprehension is short. We don't want to talk too much on that kind of stuff. We want laughter. We want all of that. Angel is coming in, and Angel, we're leaving out. Marshmallow still here? Where is he? It says Marshmallow was blocked. Myra. Okay, Marshmallow got a couple of pages then. Let me block him again. Okay. All right. So I'm going to get off so Marshmallow can go on about their business too. Y'all, I appreciate y'all coming in and listening to the last part of the topic we were talking about, which was the brain. Hopefully this has been enlightening to you. We'll come back in the morning with something totally different. I'm going to watch a little YouTube tonight, so see what's been going on. These streets have been a little too hot for Ms.V. Too many fires burning out here on the street again, and too much arguing and fussing and cussing and raising hell. And, I don't want my life all about that. My life consists of more than just coming out here on YouTube to talk about people. Okay, Myra, I appreciate that. Every day, I can't do that. So we'll find something. Yeah, Chico, it's been too much. We'll find something fun to talk about in the morning, and I'll be back with you at 10 o'clock in the morning. Y'all have a pleasant night. Thank you for coming in tonight. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful night. Thanks to all of the subscribers who have come in with Chatting with Ms.V. I appreciate everyone in the chat tonight for hitting the like button. Thank you very much. Y'all have a great night. Love you much. Bye-bye.